When you protect your energy, value your space, and give your attention with intention, you become magnetic. Scarcity creates value, mystery fuels desire, and self-priority commands respect. You don't chase, you attract. The right people will value you, not for your constant presence, but for the rarity of your essence. When something is easily available, we often take it for granted. The same principle applies to human attention. When you make your attention scarce, you automatically create value around it. People are wired to desire what they cannot easily have, and when you're not constantly available, when you're not always answering every call, replying to every message instantly, or giving every ounce of your energy, you become a rare experience. Scarcity breeds desire, and desire creates attraction. Think about it. Why do we value diamonds? Not because they are useful in everyday life, but because they're rare, difficult to find, and not in everyone's possession. Your attention works the same way. The more selective you are with who gets your time and energy, the more people will appreciate it when they do receive it. The moment you make yourself too accessible, too common, you lose the magnetism that makes others feel privileged to be in your presence. The truth is, human psychology is built around the law of supply and demand. When the supply is endless, the demand drops. If you're always available, there's no urgency for someone to cherish you now. They'll assume they can have you later, so they stop valuing the moments they have with you. But when you pull back, when your attention becomes something they can't get on demand, suddenly it feels more important, more special. People start noticing the small details about you. They start remembering the times they shared with you, and they begin to crave that connection again. It's not about playing games or manipulating anyone. It's about respecting your own worth and recognizing that not everyone deserves unlimited access to you. When you treat your attention like a scarce resource, you set an unspoken boundary that tells others you're not desperate for their approval. You're not chasing them. They have to rise to the level where they can earn a place in your world. That's powerful. That's attractive. The people who truly value you will respect this scarcity. In fact, they'll be drawn to it because it signals that you are someone who knows your own value. On the other hand, those who get offended by it are usually the ones who are never going to appreciate you in the first place. They simply enjoyed the convenience of your constant availability. Scarcity forces people to reveal their true intentions. And here's the thing, when you create scarcity in your attention, you also create more space for yourself. You get more time to focus on your passions, your growth, and your peace. You become more fulfilled from within, and that fulfillment radiates outward, making you even more magnetic. People can sense when you're grounded, when you have your own life outside of them, and it makes them want to be part of that world you've built. In relationships, this principle works powerfully. If you're always there, always pouring in energy without giving space, the other person can become numb to your presence. They stop feeling the excitement of seeing you because they know they'll see you all the time. But when you pull back a little, not in a cold or distant way, but in a self-respecting way, they start missing you. They start noticing your absence, and missing someone is one of the most powerful emotional triggers that builds attraction. You might worry that if you give less attention, people will lose interest. And yes, some will, but that's the point. The ones who lose interest when you're not constantly available are the ones who are only there for convenience, not for genuine connection. The ones who truly care will be drawn even closer because they value what they have to work for. Scarcity creates value because it forces people to make a choice. Either they step up and meet you where you are, or they step away. Either way, you win because you either end up surrounded by people who truly appreciate you, or you free yourself from those who don't. In a world where everyone is chasing attention and validation, being the person who doesn't give it away so easily will make you stand out instantly. You're not common. You're not replaceable, and that is exactly what makes you unforgettable. Mystery has a way of pulling people in without you having to do much. When someone can't figure you out entirely, they naturally want to know more. It's human nature to be curious about what we don't fully understand. And in relationships or attraction, this curiosity can be incredibly powerful. The more you keep certain parts of yourself private, the more others lean in, trying to uncover who you truly are. You're not hiding. You're simply not laying your entire life out on the table from the first interaction. When you meet someone and they instantly know every detail about your past, your present, your feelings, and your plans, the mystery disappears. It's like reading the last page of a book before even starting it. The excitement fades because there's nothing left to discover. But when you reveal yourself in layers, slowly and naturally, you keep the intrigue alive. Each interaction feels fresh because there's always something new for the other person to learn about you. Mystery works because it creates mental space for imagination. When someone doesn't have all the answers, their mind fills in the gaps, often in ways that make you even more fascinating in their eyes. They wonder what you're doing when you're not around. They think about your hobbies, your thoughts, your ambitions, and even your silences. That wondering keeps you on their mind. And when someone is thinking about you often, attraction grows naturally. It's important to understand that mystery is not about playing games or withholding affection. It's about pacing your self-disclosure. You can be warm, kind, and open-hearted while still maintaining a sense of depth that can't be uncovered in one conversation. You can share stories about yourself without explaining every detail, leaving room for follow-up questions, future conversations, and that subtle spark of curiosity. The danger in being overly transparent too soon is that it removes the element of discovery. People get comfortable too quickly and stop feeling the urge to learn more about you. But when you hold back certain aspects of yourself, not in a secretive way, but in a natural, self-respecting way, you give them a reason to keep coming back. They feel like there's more to you than what they've seen so far, and that thought alone makes you more attractive. Mystery also communicates self-control. When you don't feel the need to overshare, it shows that you're confident enough to let people earn your trust and your story over time. It tells them that your life is valuable and not open for just anyone to dissect. That sense of selectiveness elevates your perceived worth because people know they're not entitled to every part of you just because they're in your presence. In today's world, where social media encourages constant sharing, mystery is rare. Most people put their entire lives online for everyone to see, but the person who doesn't post everything, who has moments that are theirs alone, instantly stands out. There's a certain allure in knowing that not everyone has access to your thoughts, your activities, or your emotions. You become someone people want to get close to, just to see the parts of you that the rest of the world can't. In attraction, mystery keeps the emotional spark alive because it prevents the relationship from becoming predictable too quickly. When you're an open book from the start, the excitement can fade fast. But when there's always more to discover, new sides of your personality, unexpected passions, hidden talents, it keeps the connection dynamic. It's like a movie with plot twists. You want to keep watching because you don't know what's coming next. Mystery also protects you emotionally. When you don't give away all of yourself too soon, you create a natural filter. Only those who are genuinely interested, patient, and invested will stick around long enough to learn more about you. This means you naturally avoid people who are only there for instant gratification or shallow interest. When you embody mystery, you carry yourself differently. You don't rush to fill silences. You don't feel the need to justify every action, and you're comfortable letting people wonder. That quiet confidence is magnetic. It makes people want to be around you just to see what you might reveal next. And the more they want to know, the more drawn they become. In the end, mystery sparks curiosity because it invites pursuit. It makes people lean forward instead of leaning back. And in a world where most people are shouting for attention, being the one who lets others come closer on their own terms will always make you stand out. When you give too much of yourself too soon, you take away the natural rhythm of attraction. Human connections thrive on a certain balance, enough interest to feel valued, but enough space to keep the spark alive. Overgiving disrupts that balance. It floods the other person with so much attention, validation, and effort that they no longer have to invest anything in return. And when there's no effort from their side, the intrigue fades. It's tempting to believe that giving more will make someone value you more. You think if you're always available, always doing nice things, always going out of your way, they'll realize how special you are. But in reality, the opposite often happens. When someone receives too much without having to earn it, they stop appreciating it. The law of human nature says we value most what we have to work for. When you overgive, you take away the challenge, and without challenge, there's no excitement. This doesn't mean kindness or generosity is wrong. The problem begins when your giving becomes unbalanced, when it's constant, unreciprocated, and done from a place of fear that if you don't give enough, they'll lose interest. That kind of giving is not selfless. It's driven by insecurity, and people can sense it. They might not say it out loud, but they can feel when your actions are more about keeping them than genuinely connecting with them. Overgiving also removes mystery. If someone knows you'll always be there, always answer immediately, always rearrange your life for them, there's nothing left for them to wonder about. They stop asking themselves, do they like me? Or will they say yes to this? Because they already know the answer. That certainty might sound good, but in attraction, a little uncertainty is what keeps emotions alive. The more you pour into someone without boundaries, the more they subconsciously begin to believe your value is less than theirs. It's not that they're bad people. It's just how human psychology works. We often associate effort with worth. If they have to invest little to keep you, they may assume you're easy to keep. And if you're easy to keep, they stop trying. That's when relationships become one-sided and you end up drained while they're comfortably coasting. When you stop overgiving, you don't become cold or selfish. You simply allow space for the other person to contribute. You give them the opportunity to invest, to miss you, to feel the satisfaction of earning your time and attention. That balance keeps the connection alive because it engages both sides equally. Relationships are not meant to be a rescue mission where one person does all the work. They're meant to be an exchange of energy, interest, and effort. It's also important to remember that overgiving often backfires because it can make you look desperate. Desperation is never attractive. It signals to the other person that you believe you have to constantly prove your worth. True confidence, on the other hand, comes from knowing you don't need to overcompensate to keep someone interested. You trust that your presence, your personality, and your life are already enough. Overgiving also robs you of your own life. When you're constantly pouring into someone else, you're taking time, energy, and attention away from yourself, your passions, your growth, your joy. And ironically, that's what makes you less attractive over time. People are drawn to those who have their own vibrant life, not someone who orbits entirely around them. When you maintain your own center, your giving becomes more meaningful because it comes from a place of abundance, not emptiness. Pulling back from overgiving doesn't mean withholding affection or becoming distant. It means giving thoughtfully, not excessively. It means letting your actions match the other person's level of investment. It means understanding that your attention is a privilege, not an obligation. When you give in balance, you create a healthy dynamic where both people feel valued and intrigued. In the end, overgiving kills intrigue because it removes the push and pull that keeps attraction alive. It eliminates the space where curiosity, longing, and appreciation grow. When you learn to give from a place of self-respect rather than fear, you keep that spark alive while protecting your own energy. And the right person will never need you to exhaust yourself just to keep them around. They'll meet you halfway, and that's where real connection thrives. Confidence in space is about the quiet assurance that you don't need to be constantly present, constantly talking, or constantly proving yourself for someone to value you. It's the ability to step back without fear, to give breathing room without worrying that distance will make you disappear from someone's mind. In fact, that space often works in your favor because it allows others to appreciate you more deeply and see your presence as something special rather than ordinary. When you're confident in space, you understand that your worth isn't determined by how much time you spend with someone or how many reminders you give them of your existence. You know you are enough as you are, and that truth doesn't need constant reinforcement. This kind of confidence is magnetic because it shows that you are secure in yourself. You're not clinging, you're not chasing, you're allowing the relationship, whether romantic, platonic, or professional, to breathe naturally. Many people struggle with this because they fear that space equals disconnection. They believe that if they're not always available, the other person will lose interest or replace them. This fear often leads to over-communication, overcompensation, and the subtle pressure that comes from needing constant reassurance. But the reality is, people often value what they're given space to miss. When you're always there, there's no room for longing to develop. Confidence in space means you don't panic when someone takes longer to respond, when plans aren't made instantly, or when they need time for themselves. Instead of reading that as rejection, you see it as a natural part of healthy connection. You understand that relationships are not built on constant interaction, but on mutual respect, trust, and the ability to enjoy each other while also enjoying separate lives. This kind of self-assuredness also communicates that you have your own fulfilling life. You're not waiting by the phone or structuring your entire schedule around another person's availability. You have passions, goals, and responsibilities that keep you grounded and busy. This makes your presence more valuable because it's clear you're not offering it out of boredom or need. You're offering it because you choose to. People can feel the difference between someone who's with them because they want to be and someone who's there because they have nothing else going on. Confidence in space also sets a standard. It shows that you respect boundaries and expect the same in return. You're not trying to control the other person's time or demand their constant attention. You give them the freedom to come toward you naturally, which builds genuine attraction and trust. This is the opposite of insecurity, where someone might try to fill every silence out of fear that the connection will fade. In romantic dynamics, confidence in space keeps the energy fresh. When you're not in each other's pockets all the time, there's a sense of anticipation for the next meeting or conversation. It gives both people the chance to grow individually, so when they come back together, they have new experiences, thoughts, and feelings to share. That exchange of newness is what keeps relationships from becoming stagnant. It also filters out the wrong people. If someone needs constant attention to feel connected to you, they may not be ready for a healthy relationship. The right person will not see your independence as a threat. They'll admire it. They'll feel drawn to you because you're self-sufficient, yet still capable of deep intimacy when you choose to give it. The truth is, Space doesn't weaken real bonds, it strengthens them. If someone truly values you, distance will not erase their feelings. In fact, it will often deepen them. They'll find themselves thinking about you, missing you, and appreciating your presence more when you return. This is why confidence in space is so attractive. It combines self-respect with trust, creating a dynamic that feels free, yet connected at the same time. When you carry this confidence, you move differently. You're not rushing to prove your worth. You're not afraid of silence or pauses. You trust the connection enough to let it breathe. And in a world where so many people are afraid of being forgotten, being the one who's comfortable in space makes you unforgettable. Your energy is one of the most valuable resources you have. It's not limitless. And once it's spent, you can't simply get it back in the same form. Where you invest your mental, emotional, and physical energy shapes the quality of your life and the connections you have with others. That's why learning to guard it, protect it, and give it only to people and situations that truly deserve it is a form of self-respect. Too often, people waste their energy on individuals who drain them, on conversations that go nowhere, and on trying to win over those who are indifferent. Every time you give your attention, your time, or your emotional effort to someone, you are making an investment. The question is, are you getting any return on that investment? If the answer is no, you are essentially pouring your energy into a black hole, leaving yourself depleted while gaining nothing in return. When you start seeing your energy as precious, you become intentional about where it goes. You begin to recognize that not everyone is entitled to your focus. Not everyone deserves to have unlimited access to your thoughts, your emotions, and your presence. This doesn't mean you shut people out or become cold. It means you become selective. You choose quality over quantity. You choose relationships that give back, that uplift you, that inspire you, and that make the exchange of energy feel mutual. Energy is not just about effort. It's about emotional capacity. Every interaction, every thought, every decision either charges your energy or drains it. Being around people who complain constantly, manipulate, or take without giving leaves you feeling exhausted, no matter how much sleep you get. On the other hand, being around those who encourage, respect, and support you will make you feel lighter, motivated, and capable of more. That's why your circle matters as much as your boundaries. The problem is, when you undervalue your energy, you give it away too freely. You answer every message instantly. You say yes to every request. You spend hours trying to fix problems that aren't yours to solve. Over time, this leaves you burnt out and resentful. But by then, you've trained others to expect constant access to you. They've become accustomed to you overextending yourself, so they don't see it as a favor. They see it as normal. When you decide to protect your energy, you break that pattern. You start saying no when something doesn't align with your priorities. You stop explaining yourself to people who have already made up their minds. You walk away from conversations that only exist to stir drama or pull you down. And most importantly, you stop trying to prove your worth by overgiving. Instead, you give wisely, where your energy will be respected and appreciated. Guarding your energy also forces you to look inward. You realize that the things you feed your mind, what you watch, what you read, what you listen to, affect your energy just as much as the people around you. If you constantly consume negativity, gossip, or fear-driven narratives, you'll carry that energy into every interaction. But if you choose to fuel your mind with positive, empowering, and meaningful content, your energy naturally becomes more magnetic, and people feel better in your presence. In attraction, energy is everything. People might be drawn to your looks or your words at first, But what keeps them coming back is how they feel when they're around you. If your energy feels scarce, depleted, or resentful because you've been overextending yourself to everyone, they will sense it. But if your energy feels full, calm, and confident because you've been protecting it and investing it in the right places, they will also sense that and be drawn to it. The truth is, not everyone deserves a front row seat in your life. Not everyone should have the privilege of knowing your thoughts, hearing your stories, or receiving your undivided attention. The people who truly value you will never ask you to drain yourself for their comfort. They'll respect your time, your space, and your well-being. When you finally understand that your energy is precious, you stop scattering it everywhere in hopes of being liked, noticed, or accepted. Instead, you concentrate it on the things and people that matter. You become intentional, and that intentionality not only protects you from burnout, it makes you more attractive, because nothing draws people in more than someone who knows their own value and treats their energy like the rare and powerful force it is. Absence has a way of sharpening perspective. When something or someone is always within reach, it's easy to overlook their presence. But when that presence is removed, even for a short while, people begin to notice just how much it meant to them. The silence where your voice used to be, the empty space where your energy once filled the room, these moments of absence create contrast, and it's in that contrast that appreciation grows. When you're constantly around someone, they become a part of the background. You could be doing everything right, being kind, supportive, and generous. But if there's no break, the mind adapts to it as normal. There's no urgency to value it because it feels like it will always be there. Absence interrupts that comfort. It breaks the pattern and reminds people that your presence is not guaranteed. This doesn't mean disappearing for the sake of manipulation. It means allowing natural space in relationships instead of clinging to constant contact. That space is where reflection happens. People start to think about what they miss. The sound of your laugh, the way you made them feel, the small ways you added light to their day. Those memories grow stronger when they're not being constantly overshadowed by your immediate availability. Absence also allows for longing. Longing is one of the most powerful emotions in attraction because it stirs the imagination. When you're not there, people begin to picture what you're doing, who you're with, and what life feels like without you. That wondering makes your return more exciting. The anticipation builds, and when you do reconnect, it feels special again. One of the most damaging mistakes in relationships is thinking that being together all the time is the only way to maintain closeness. In reality, overexposure often leads to emotional dullness. It's like hearing your favorite song on repeat until it loses the magic that made you love it in the first place. By stepping back and giving space, you preserve that magic. You give the other person the chance to miss you, and missing someone is a sign of emotional investment. Absence also strengthens your own sense of independence. When you're not constantly leaning on someone or constantly pouring into them, you have the time and space to nurture yourself, your goals, your hobbies, your growth. This makes you more interesting and more magnetic when you come back together because you're bringing new experiences and energy to the relationship. You're not relying on them for your sense of fulfillment. You're already fulfilled, and that makes your presence even more valuable. For those who fear absence, it often comes from insecurity, the worry that if you step back, the other person will forget you or replace you. But in truth, if your presence can be replaced that easily, then it wasn't truly appreciated in the first place. Real connection doesn't vanish because of space. In fact, space reveals whether the connection was genuine or just convenient. Absence also filters out the wrong people. Those who were only around because you were always available will drift away when you're not. And that's not a loss. It's a form of clarity. The people who truly value you will notice your absence and will make an effort to bridge the gap. They'll reach out, they'll initiate, and they'll make sure they don't lose the connection. In attraction, absence works because it creates contrast. Presence feels more exciting after a period of absence. Just like water tastes sweeter when you've been thirsty. It's not about withholding yourself to manipulate someone's feelings. It's about understanding that space is part of the rhythm of human connection. Too much presence dulls appreciation, while a little absence makes the heart and mind realize your worth. When you embrace this, you no longer feel the need to overstay in anyone's life just to be remembered. You trust that your presence, your energy, and the value you bring speak for themselves. And when you do return after being away, people will feel the difference. They'll notice how much lighter, fuller, and more self-assured you've become, and that will only make them appreciate you more. Attention is one of the most powerful currencies you have, and when you treat it as a reward rather than something to be given freely to everyone, it transforms how people perceive and value you. The truth is, human nature is wired to appreciate what feels earned. When someone has to put in effort, show respect, and genuinely connect to receive your attention, it becomes meaningful. But when your attention is available on demand to anyone at any time, it loses its impact. In relationships, friendships, or even professional settings, attention signals interest and importance. The moment you give it without any boundaries, people start taking it for granted. They assume you'll always be there, always responding instantly, always prioritizing them no matter how they treat you. And once they make that assumption, they stop working for it. They stop appreciating it. What was once exciting becomes expected. When you begin to see your attention as a reward, you naturally become more selective. You stop giving endless energy to people who put in little or no effort. Instead, you invest your time and focus where it's reciprocated. This creates a natural balance. Those who value you will step up, and those who don't will fade away. Both outcomes work in your favor because they filter your circle to those who truly deserve your presence. This isn't about arrogance or withholding affection to manipulate someone. It's about understanding the value of what you offer. Your presence, your words, your energy, they all have weight. Not everyone is entitled to them just because they want them. When you make someone earn your attention through consistency, respect, and effort, you're not only protecting your own energy, you're also increasing how much they appreciate the moments they have with you. Think about how we value achievements. A trophy means more when you've trained for months to earn it, rather than when it's handed to you with no effort. The same applies to attention. When someone has to invest in knowing you, understanding you, and showing up for you, they value the connection more. They feel a sense of pride and satisfaction in having it, which makes them less likely to take it for granted. Treating attention as a reward also changes how you carry yourself. You're no longer the person chasing others or bending over backwards for scraps of interest. You set the tone by deciding who gets access to your focus and when. This creates an unspoken message. You are a person of value and your time is not infinite. People pick up on that energy, and it makes them want to earn a place in your life rather than assume they already have it. In attraction, this dynamic is especially powerful. When your attention feels exclusive rather than automatic, it creates a sense of privilege in the other person. They feel special when they have your focus because they know you don't give it to just anyone. This builds intrigue and desire because scarcity heightens value. If your attention can't be easily bought or manipulated, it becomes a prize in itself. The danger many people fall into is over-giving attention too soon. They meet someone and immediately flood them with constant messages, compliments, and availability. While it may come from a place of genuine interest, it removes the thrill of discovery. The other person never has the chance to wonder about you or to feel the satisfaction of earning your trust and focus. By pacing your attention, you allow curiosity and appreciation to develop naturally. Rewarding effort with attention also helps maintain balance in long-term relationships. Even after you've known someone for years, your focus should still feel intentional, not automatic. Giving it freely without thought can make interactions feel routine, but making a conscious effort to match your attention to mutual respect keeps the connection alive. It reminds both sides that presence is a choice, not an obligation. When you shift your mindset and treat your attention as something valuable, you not only protect yourself from emotional burnout, you also raise the standard for how people treat you. Those who want to stay in your life will rise to meet that standard, and in doing so, they'll value you more deeply, because attention given as a reward isn't just noticed, it's cherished. When you make yourself a priority, you send a clear message to the world. You know your worth. You're not waiting for someone else to validate you, fill your time, or give you direction. You're building a life that excites you, challenges you, and fulfills you with or without anyone else's involvement. That kind of self-sufficiency is rare, and it's incredibly magnetic. People are drawn to those who stand firmly in their own identity and aren't afraid to put themselves first. Self-priority doesn't mean selfishness. It means understanding that you can't pour into others from an empty cup. It's about realizing that your mental health, your goals, your passions, and your boundaries matter just as much, if not more, than pleasing everyone around you. Too many people lose themselves trying to be everything for everyone, constantly saying yes, constantly sacrificing their own needs for the comfort of others. While this might seem noble, it often leaves you drained, resentful, and disconnected from who you truly are. When you prioritize yourself, you operate from a place of abundance rather than depletion. You have more to give because you've taken the time to nourish your own well-being first. You're not giving from a place of neediness or desperation. You're giving from strength, and that energy is contagious. People feel more inspired and alive around someone who is genuinely fulfilled because fulfillment radiates. Self-priority also changes the dynamics of attraction. Someone who knows how to focus on their own life is inherently more intriguing because they aren't relying on another person for happiness. They have their own passions, their own routines, their own vision for the future. This independence creates a healthy sense of mystery and challenge. Others naturally want to be part of that world, but they can also see that your life doesn't revolve around them, which makes your presence feel like a privilege rather than a given. Putting yourself first also sets boundaries without you having to say much. People quickly learn that you won't overextend yourself or neglect your own needs to meet theirs. They either adjust and respect those boundaries or they drift away, and either outcome is a form of self-protection. Those who stick around will be the ones who appreciate your strength rather than take advantage of it. There's also an undeniable confidence that comes with self-priority. When you're deeply invested in your own growth, you don't feel the need to chase validation. You stop begging for attention or forcing connections because you already have a sense of fulfillment from within. This makes you more grounded, more secure, and more attractive because people can sense when you're whole on your own. Self-priority also fuels personal development. The more you focus on your own path, the more you grow